Hello, glorious people. It is once again Mad Capsules, and I'm here to talk to you about my stuff. Where I'm at, all that jazz. My arms are disappearing, reappearing, and disappearing. I'll figure out what to do with my camera one day, but for now, this is all you need. Anyway, where am I at for the last week? It was a good week, but and it was the same as other weeks. That the yoga's actually been getting harder, which is, not troubling, embarrassing. It's a little difficult, and sometimes I can't do the poses at all, and it's really bloody hard, but it also demonstrates to me that, hey, dude, you ain't fit. Do something about it. So it's reinforcing, I guess. Hey, let's talk about my schedule. So I try to wake up at 5:30 every morning. I used to get up at 7 a.m. every morning. Now I've been able to push that back, and I did that by just making sure that I got up at 6 a.m. every morning. Once I got used to that, I pushed it back half an hour. Will I push it back another half hour to 5 a.m.? I don't know. I'm thinking about it. Why am I doing this? I'm doing this because I need more time. And at night, I just tend to play video games, and my head's not in the right space. So, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but I just can't do night things. So I'm doing morning things, and I'm finding I'm getting a lot more done. Getting a bit of work done, getting, of course, my yoga done. So I do yoga for about half an hour. Then I do about 15 minutes of meditation, and then I do about 10 minutes on the exercise bike. So that's what I'm doing every day. But there were 2 days this week so far that I missed my yoga. So the first one, or the latest one actually, was yesterday. I didn't do it because I didn't have anything to watch the video on, sadly. My computer wasn't charged, my tablets, everything wasn't charged, and my phone the screen's just too small for me to try and copy. So I decided to forego it yesterday, but did plenty of exercise instead in terms of walking and things like that. And the day before that, Sunday, was the other day that I missed out, and that one was a little bit different. I didn't sleep well the night before because it was daylight savings here in Melbourne, and the time changed and we lost an hour. So I still forced myself to get up early, but instead of getting up at 5:30, I got up at 6. And the reason for that is if I had got up at 5:30, it would have been 4:30, and my body wasn't ready for 4:30. So I got up at 6, which would have been 5 a.m., which I still wasn't ready for. I still wasn't used to 5:30. So when I got up at 6, I was just rooted, and I couldn't do anything. So the other thing is, the night before, I went to a friend's bucks party, and I had a few beers while I was there, and the beers were nice. I didn't get drunk, but it made me realize that maybe the tiredness in the morning wasn't just due to not getting enough sleep. Hard to say, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but maybe it was also a little bit in part due to having a couple of glasses of beer. And really, that's a good segue into what I wanted to talk about this week. So this week we're talking about alcohol, hence the background. Alcohol and I have an interesting relationship. On again, off again. Good friends, bad friends. So, of course, like everyone else, I started drinking in my late teens. That is, here in Australia, the legal drinking age is 18. Don't know who else is watching, but in other countries I know it's higher. But you can start drinking at 18, and I did. I didn't go crazy for the first few years. It wasn't until I was in my early 20s that I started to drink a bit more. And while I was at home, I was drinking a fair bit here and there, but it never really got out of control. It wasn't until I moved to Japan, of all places, that it did actually start to get into a place where it was out of my control. It wasn't really out of my control, I was just overdoing it. So essentially what I was doing was, because I suddenly had freedom, I suddenly had independence. I left home, my parents were all the way back in Australia, and there I was living on my own, or living with friends really, in another country where I could do whatever the hell I wanted. And if whatever the hell I wanted was to drink alcohol as soon as I finished work, then I damn well would. I did. So the good thing about Japan, good, bad, whatever, is you can drink on the streets. It's not illegal to have an open can of alcohol wherever you are. So we used to do something at the place of work in Japan that we called station beers. So we'd go to the train station, we'd grab a couple of cans of beer, and we'd stand around talking and laughing, having a bit of fun, and just people watching and making bad jokes while drinking alcohol. And then we'd all catch a train home and away we go. We'd have 2 or 3 cans. I'd jump on the train and got off the train and went into another convenience store and grabbed more drinks before I went home. And this became a nightly thing. And for pretty much the entire 5 years I was in Japan, I was drinking every night in fairly large quantities. I got to a point where I guess I felt like I needed to be drunk all the time. When I moved, not all the time, because that's pretty much hardcore alcoholism. I would only drink after work. I wouldn't drink during work hours. I was still responsible. Anytime I needed to be sober, I was sober. But when it came to me going home at night just before bed, I would drink. And that spilled over into when I moved back to Australia. I continued to drink like that. I discovered that I was not entirely healthy. I put on a lot of weight in Japan, so I probably put on 30 or 40 kilos while I was in Japan, which is a lot of weight. And, you know, people like to think that Japan is a fairly healthy country, and it is if you make the right decisions. Just like any country can be healthy if you make the right food and drink decisions. And I was making the wrong decisions, not just on alcohol, but also on food and no exercise. So I got unhealthy. I had a bit of a liver problem, no liver disease, but sort of getting towards there. And, you know, over the last few years, 10, 15 years, I've been trying to do something about it here, trying to lose weight there, going on a diet there. In 2017, I gave up alcohol for the entire year because I knew that was a bit of a problem for me. So I gave it up. And I managed to do that without too much of an issue, but I didn't really lose any weight either. So clearly my issue wasn't just alcohol, it was decision making in general around what I put in my mouth. So from there, I went back to drinking in 2018. Drank again for the whole year, found myself by the end of the year back in the same position where I was drinking every night in high quantities because I felt the need to get drunk. The start of this year, 2019, I decided I was going to quit alcohol for good. No more alcohol, gone, nada, don't need it in my life, it's bad for me, gone. I quit alcohol for the first 6 months. And I made a conscious decision to start again. It wasn't that one night I just fell off the wagon or anything like that. I realized that I guess the reason I drink is because I have some sort of issue at night. At nighttime I get anxious. I feel like I need to be doing something, but at the same time, there's nothing to do. I could do some work in terms of, you know, the websites I look after, and I do that, but I still feel anxious. I still feel like there's something I should be doing that I'm not doing. And so I've filled that gap, or I've answered that with alcohol, because alcohol just makes you forget about that. Bye! So I guess I realized that was part of the problem, and I also realized that, hey, I actually like alcohol. I was never a real full-on alcoholic who couldn't control when and where I drank. I was never drunk at work. I never took little bottles around with me or anything like that. I was hiding alcohol and things like that, so, you know, I had some problems. But I decided, you know what, this isn't, you know, I'm not losing weight. Alcohol's clearly not the only problem I have. So let me try and figure it back out and add alcohol back into my life, because I was getting a bit stressed at the time. So I added alcohol back in my life, and again I started drinking pretty much every night. And I came to this point maybe a month ago where I realized, and this is where all these videos came from and all of this stuff, I realized I needed to make a change in my life. So I started working on a whole bunch of different things that make me feel somewhat fulfilled. I started exercising, so the yoga in the morning. I decided to change my sleeping patterns. I realized that because I do get anxious at night, why don't I just go to sleep early? Rather than feeling anxious, just go to bed. Because I actually, whenever I feel like this, and I guess it's related to depression or anxiety, whenever I feel like this, I don't have any issue with going to bed. So why don't I just embrace that? Go to bed early, wake up early, get stuff done, still feel satisfied, and actually feeling like I'm achieving things. And after only a couple of days of doing that, I suddenly just stopped drinking alcohol. And that was 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I haven't quit alcohol at all. Every once in a while I'll have a beer. I had a beer the other day at work. I had a couple of beers when I went to my friend's bucks party on the weekend. I can have drinks, but I don't feel like I need to anymore. And I don't know where this is coming from. I don't know whether it's just a fad that I'm going through because I've got this excitement or this desire to do something in my blood. But I really don't feel like I need to alcohol to alcohol. In fact, I've got a bottle of wine. I bought a bottle of wine on the weekend that I thought, oh, I'll drink that because I've got going to my friend's bucks party. I'll probably go home and want to have a few drinks afterwards. But I didn't. And then I thought on Sunday, because I had a party at my house on Sunday, I thought, okay, I'll have a few drinks and then afterwards I'll finish off that bottle of wine. But I didn't. And it's not because I decided, oh, it's not a good idea. I was just like, I don't really want to. I don't need to. In fact, if I do, I'm going to wake up feeling like shit tomorrow and I'm going to miss my yoga. Now, I don't think any of this is really going to necessarily apply to anyone else. I don't think it's necessarily going to be some advice that other people can take in. But I wanted to share it because it is kind of weird. It may change. Maybe in a couple of weeks, I may be coming back to you saying, hey, I've been drinking alcohol again. I hope not. I really hope that's not the case. I don't want to do that. But, I've got that bottle of wine and it's my birthday this week, so I'll probably crack it open and have a few drinks on my birthday because it's my birthday. May as well celebrate with a few drinks. And also that's going to be a bit of a test for me to see how I go the next day, because I haven't been drunk, in inverted commas, since that last night where I woke up the next day and just thought, I don't want to be hungover anymore. I'm over it. I hate feeling like crap. That's where it came from. That's where it started. I've been feeling really good. I haven't lost much weight. To be honest, since I started 2-3 weeks ago, I've lost maybe 2 kilos. Most of that is probably water weight. But I'm feeling stronger. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling healthier. My skin's better. Yeah, so all of these things are good things, and maybe as a result of all of those changes, maybe my body will start to change and I'll start to lose weight, but I don't want to do a fad diet. I want to change myself and be a better person. Maybe because I'm actually enjoying myself and getting work done in the morning and feeling like I'm accomplishing things. Maybe it's because, on a separate note, I talked to my boss at work about how I wasn't perfectly happy at work, and he was really forthcoming about wanting to help me and wanting to support me and get me back to a place where I felt happy. So it's good to feel appreciated and loved. So maybe all of these things added up to a point where I wasn't so anxious anymore. And maybe that's all it was, that I just felt like I fixed the problem. Didn't fix them because I know they're still there, but maybe I addressed some of the issues that I had that were drawing me to drink in the evening. I don't know, but I just wanted to share this story with you. I hope you found it interesting. I will continue to go down this path of self-discovery and change, and hopefully continue to be a better person as a result, but not have to remove so many things that I do like alcohol, from my life. So it's a bit of an experiment. We'll see how we go. So yeah. Anyway, the photo you see behind me is the photo of the shelves in Japan. I took that a couple of years ago when I was there, and I was just blown away by the prices of the whiskey. Now, none of that whiskey is actually amazing whiskey, but it is probably on par. Bloody hell, there's Chivas Regal over there. So Chivas Regal is pretty good whiskey. If you buy that bottle of Chivas Regal here in Australia, it's probably $50-$60. There it says 1,500 yen with tax. That's less than $20. So really what I wanted to do when I took this photo was share the price of alcohol in Japan, because goddamn it's cheap. That Tory's Black that you see there, not great whiskey, but $10. This is why I found it so easy to drink in Japan, because it was so cheap and it was everywhere, and I do love whiskey. And before I do go, part of the problem I will have next time I go to Japan is I've associated alcohol with Japan. And every time I go to Japan, I have to drink every night a certain number of cans of Chuhai, big 500ml cans. It's a habit I've gotten into, and I do it every time I go, every single night, and I feel wrong if I don't do it. So I'm looking forward to when I go to Japan sometime next year, when I can test the new me and see whether or not I can get by in Japan without feeling like I have to drink. Hopefully I can change that association as well. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll be back again next week. I may or may not release a different video in the middle of the week. This week I've been playing Destiny 2 Shadowkeep, which is really good. I do recommend it, and I'm interested in making a review video for it, but hey, these things take time. Anyway, hopefully you will stick around for the rest of my journey. Really glad to have had you watch. Please click like and all that YouTuber jazz, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.